Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining for today's session, which is going to be the second part of the fifth canto, the overview of the fifth canto for the second part. Om Agyanti Minandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshivum Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Kadadara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so last class we discussed about the fifth canto, first part, chapters from 1 to 15 chapters we have covered, and so this is the summary of that. So we discussed about Mahārāja Priyavrata, how although in the renounced order he entered household life at the request of Lord Brahma, and then he divided the Bhu-mandala into 7 oceans and 7 islands, making his sons their rulers. Then he retired. Then the descendant of Mahārāja Priyavrata was Agnidra, the first son of Priyavrata, ruled Jambudvipa. He married Priyavrata and begot 9 sons who became the rulers of 9 Varshas of Jambudvipa. Then the first son of Agnidra, Nabhi Maharaj, ruled Bharata-varsa. By performing a sacrifice, he got Lord Rishabhdev as his son. And then we also described the characteristics of Lord Rishabhdev, the Lord incarnation who exhibited exemplary character and begot 100 sons, whom instructed on various spiritual subjects. He later adopted Ajgar Vritti, wandered like Avdut, and disappeared in a forest fire. And then we also discussed about Bharat or King Bharat, the first son of Lord Rishabhdev, who ruled Bharat-varsa. He worshipped the Lord through sacrifices and eventually retired. He performed austerities at Kulashram, but became attached to deer and became a deer in his next life. And then the next life of Bharata, he is coming back as Jad Bharat. After giving up deer's body, Bharat was born as Brahmana and behaved like a person. Once the goddess Kali saved him from some dacoits who tried to sacrifice him to her. Another time he was engaged to carry the palanquin of King Rahugan and gave him teachings on the mind, material entanglement, liberation, falsity of the material world, Lord's qualities, and the process of bhakti. He presented an allegorical story on the forest of material enjoyment, which was later explained by Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And then finally, the first part ends with the descendants of Mahārāja Priyavrata all the way to Biraj. So today we'll be discussing about the geography of the universe, part B. So it describes about Jambudvipa. So Parikshit Maharaj is inquiring from Sukadeva Goswami about the characteristics of oceans and the islands created by Priyavrata's chariot wheels. And Sukadeva Goswami starts describing about Jambudvip. Then we talk about Ilävrta, the middlemost portion of Jambudvipa, which is square in shape. And then Mount Sumeru, the center point of Jambudvip, which is 1 lakh yodhnas height. Then we also talk about the descent of river Ganges, right from the Causal Ocean to Mount Sumeru, and then finally descending to the Loka, and from Loka to Mount Sumeru, and then from Sumeru to Bharata-varsa. And then the chapter 17 and 19, they also describe about the prayers offered by the residents of the 9 Varshas of Jambudvipa, and then also it is description about Bharat-varsa, it mountains and rivers, inhabitants, glorification by demigods. And then finally, Bhu-mandala in the 20th chapter, the remaining 6 islands of Bhu-mandala and vertical structure of the universe. Okay, so all these things can be explained only if we have some kind of visual presentation. That's why I have made an effort to offer something which is similar to the Vedic planetarium. And so it will be very exciting to enter this planetarium now. But before that, I just wanted to discuss a few important points. So basically, we have the gross body, and then we also have a subtle body inside the gross body. And so there are subtle senses also, just like we have organs. We have organs outside which we can see. We can easily view these organs from outside, but inside also we have elements. And so these elements, like for example, the subtle body also has eyes, nose, ears, and all these elements are present. Okay, so now one practical example or the evidence of this is that when we have dreams. So when we have dreams, the subtle body comes, it goes outside the gross body, and then whatever experience it will have in the world, it will communicate or it will relate to the gross body. So when you wake up, the subtle body will enter the body in the gross body, and then you'll have some memory of that experience. Okay. So now, obviously, without eyes, without senses, you cannot experience outside the body, right? So the subtle body, they have senses also. And then another example is that of body experiences. Now, see, there are different levels and dimensions of realities which can be perceived by science. Scientists say that we know 3% of matter only, but other 97% is dark matter. So science is a matter-based approach from consciousness perspective implications. For example, quantum physics, we know that how electron can be treated both as a particle or as a wave. So consciousness decides on the reality, especially in context with quantum physics, right? So quantum physics is actually forcing scientists to go beyond matter, beyond Newton's model, include consciousness also. So a yogi or a person can go out of their body and they can see something different. So we can say that it's the yogi's vision of the universe, which is subtle and beyond normal space and time. It's not spiritual vision though. Okay, so whatever the description that we are going to discuss in today's class, it is ultimately all material and it is temporary. So now how they would relay in our space and time, it is very difficult and almost impossible. Okay, so now earlier Brahmanas in Jyotish Shastra, they could accept different reality presented in Puranic cosmology. So they didn't contradict, but accepted as a different level of reality. But with Christianity and Newtonian physics, this was a problem. They felt it contradicted their views. Now, there are some demonstrations or presentations, not just in our Hindu Vedic culture, but even in Jain also, Jain religion. In Ajmer, you will see they have a very similar model of the universe that we are going to describe. And I've personally seen that model when I had been to Ajmer 2 years back. So other countries and culture, they also have a similar idea. They also the model like we got the fish. Also depict a mountain tree, like we have so many mountain trees also. So presented differently, this model or Vedic cosmology is presented differently by different devotees, and that we'll see how. So from worldly vision, they will present, or we can have the solar system, galaxy, or universe in different ways, present in different ways. So we'll just go through it now. Okay, so now see, this entire material world is unlimited. And so when Sukdev Goswami is asked by Parikshit Maharaj to describe the dimensions of the entire material world, he admitted that it is actually quite impossible to describe everything in detail because it is unlimited. So, but you know, definitely he had some idea, and that's why he described something. Okay, so what is that something? We'll now describe in detail. Okay, so now we see that in this figure, this is a Bhu-mandala. And you have to remember one thing, that 1 yojana is equal to 8 miles. Okay, this is something that you have to keep constantly in your mind, because you will come across yojanas in all the slides. So this is Bhu-mandala. Now don't confuse this with our Earth. This is a Bhu-mandala, and we will see later when we holistically represent all these things together, then you will actually understand what is Bhu-mandala, what is earthly planet, what are Dhruvaloka, heavenly planets, lower planetary system, hellish planets. We'll all see that later. But starting with Mahārāja Priyavrata, he wanted to enlighten the entire Bhu-mandala because initially it was obstructed by Mount Meru, which we can see in the middle. So sun is actually trying to issue forth the rays, but because of Mount Meru, it is obstructing, and that's why only half of the universe, half of the Bhu-mandala is covered. So Mahārāja Priyavrata assumed he expanded himself in the form of a similar sun. And so while following the path of sun, he started creating ditches in the Bhu-mandala. So this is the first ditch that Priyavrata created. And this is how he actually created 7 ditches by following the path of the sun. So now, so how it gets the Bhu-mandala? So he followed the orbit of the sun god in a chariot with 1 wheel. in 7 circles for 1 year. He had 7 chariots, each with 1 wheel. Larger and larger chariots in succession. Each one is twice the size of previous one. The troughs created by the wheels produce oceans. Each island is twice the previous one. Each ocean is also twice of the previous one. And each ocean is the same size in breadth as the island. But if you compare 2 oceans, then one ocean is twice that of the preceding one. So 7 chariots, because he created 7 ditches, so 7 chariots for 25.76 days, which is 180 days, which is almost half year, right? So in 1 day he created 1 ditch, and so it took about 25.76 days for him to create 7 ditches. So that becomes half a year. So from the summer equinox to Posh month, which is July 17 to Jan, and then return travel also. So he was going outwards away from the center, and then he also started coming towards the center, and that happened from winter equinox Makar Sankranti to Jan 15, Ashad month, July. Okay, so this is how we can see that Priyavrata Mahārāja is entering inside. And these are the 7 oceans and islands. We'll discuss in detail about that. Okay, so as I said, that size, the dimension of all the Dvipas is twice to the preceding one. So Dvip is 2 times, Salmali Dvip is 4 times, Usa Dvip is 8 times, which is like twice Salmali Dvip, like that. So that way the saltwater ocean also is also twice. Okay, so saltwater, sugar cane, liquid ocean, clarified butter, milk, emulsified yogurt, sweet water drinking. And then Priyavrata's son, who are ruling all these Dvipas. These are Mahārāja Priyavrata, the 7 oceans. So this is just an idea of the radius of the Bhu-mandala, which is 25.35 million yojanas. Okay, so somehow we can add up all these dimensions and we get this figure of 25.35 million yojanas. 1 yojana is 8 miles. Okay, description of Jambudvipa, first and innermost island. So Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 16th chapter, 4 to 10 verses describes in detail about Jambudvipa. Now Jambudvipa is compared to the ball of the lotus. It is round like lotus leaf, 1 lakh yojanas in length and breadth, which is 0.1 million yojanas. It has 9 divisions or varshas. Now why varsha? What is varsha? Varsha is a land which is divided between 2 mountains. Okay, which is situated between 2 mountains. So this is varsha. And these are 9,000 yojanas wide. Then 8 mountains mark the boundaries. 9 varshas ruled by the 9 sons of Ilävrta. Central varsha is Ilävrta-varsa. And then center of Ilävrta-varsa is Sumeru mountain. And the pericap of lotus like Bhu-mandala. Okay, so now we will see all these, like see, this is the Bhu-mandala. And we see that, there is something which is protruding from the lotus flower. And that is the compared to the Mount Meru, and these lotus petals are compared to the different islands and oceans of Bhu-mandala. Okay, so you will see here that this circular flat disc is Jambudvipa, and then Ilävrta-varsa. In the middle of Ilävrta-varsa, there is Mount Sumeru, which is 84,000 yojanas high from Jambudvipa. And it also goes down below 16,000 yojanas. And then at the surface of Jambudvipa, it is 16,000 yojanas. At the top, it is 32,000 yojanas. Okay, so this is Jambudvipa, and these are the different varshas of Jambudvipa. As discussed that we have 9 varshas. So here we can see Kuru Varsha at the north side, then Hiranyamai Varsha, then Ramyaka Varsha. So you remember the width of that, each and every varsha was 9,000. So here the dimensions are also given. And these varshas are separated by mountains. That's why they are called as varshas. And so we have the Shringavan mountain, and then the Sweta mountain, the Lila mountain, Tumala Varsha on our west side, and east side we have Bhadrashva Varsha. And then in the center we have Ilävrta Varsha. And then Nishad mountain, we have Hari Varsha, Himketu mountain, Kim Purusha Varsha. which is and then Bharat-varsa and Kimpurusha-varsa divided by the Himalayan mountain. So now this Himalayan mountain is not the mountain that we see in this earthly planet. Okay, so don't get confused about that. We will cover that later. But here we can get an estimation of idea how these varshas and how big all these different mountains are also there. So you'll see that the Shringavan mountain is the width of that is 2 kilodnas, which means 2,000 yodnas, and it is 10,000 kilodnas. So similarly, all the mountains, they have the same width and height. Okay. And here we have the Malayavan mountain and the Madana mountain also, which have the same dimensions. So this is the isometric view of the Jambudvipa with Mount Meru, and we can see how these are the mountains 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then here also we'll see. So these are the different varshas divided into 9 varshas. The center is the square shape is Ilävrta-varsa. Okay, and this is the Mount Meru. So this is the exact dimension which is mentioned. Okay, and then Mount Sumeru we can see at the center, and Ilävrta-varsa in the square shape. Right? Okay. So description now, Bhagavatam 16 chapter 11 to 29 verses describe about the Ilävrta-varsa in detail. And so it is mentioned that there are 4 mountains and 4 sides, which has length, height, width of 10, 2 kilodnas. And then there are 4 trees standing like flag steps with width and height 100 and 1,100 yodnas. And then the radius of the branches 1,100 yodnas. So 4 huge lakes are also there, 4 celestial gardens are also there, 2 mountains on each side with length, height and width 8 to 2 kilodnas respectively. Here we are focusing now on Ilävrta-varsa, the square portion at the center of Jambudvipa. And so you'll see that, so here there is a 4 mountain, Kubudha, and then the Supashwa, Supashwa, then Bhu-mandala, and then Mandala mountain, right? And then there are 4 trees also, you can see here. Okay. We also know the dimensions, 2 into 10. And the radius of the tree's dimension is also mentioned into 1,100 yojanas. Okay, so here we'll see the exact description. Now here we can see Kubudha mountain. This is Satya tree, which is also called as banyan tree, and how there is the flowing of pure water and also milk, yogurt, honey, ghee. So whoever is residing in these mountains is very happy. And then we'll see in Mandala mountain there's a big tree, which is also called as the Devachutta mango tree. And the size of mango is extremely huge. So it is mentioned that when the mango will fall down from the tree, it will create a lake of mango juice. Okay, and it will start flowing. So here, Yaksha's wife's bodies become fragrant when they come and they take bath in this Arunodaya river. Okay. And we have in the Mount Meru-mandala jambu tree, also known as rose apple, and the same thing happens. The jambu fruit will fall from the tree, and it will create a lake. So it will flow down, and here the image is given here. You can see here how the lake is formed, and this is the flowing of the jambu juice. And here also we have the kadamba tree, and from drinker's mouth. So whoever will drink this water, they will start having a fragrant mouth. And, so we will see this, 4 different trees are there and 4 mountains are also there, and the dimensions of each and every mountain and tree is given. So these are the rivers which are supplying milk, yogurt, etc. And then there is Arunodaya river, and then there is the many rivers in Mount Shwa and Mount Meru-mandala. We also have the Jambu River. So surrounding these are the Keshachal mountains, which has the height of Mount Sumeru. Okay, so this is another close view of Ilävrta-varsa. We can see here the four different mountains and the respective trees and how the rivers and lakes are flowing. Okay, so this is the side view of Ilävrta-varsa, Mount Sumeru and Jambudvipa. Right, so these are the golden trees actually that float surrounding Ilävrta-varsa. These are the golden trees, and then there are small trees within them, which are silver trees. So we'll see here that these are the four main trees, but then there are other two sub trees also, Mount Shanga, Mount Makara, and then Mount and Dhruvaloka and Kavira, and then Mount Kailash. Right, so all these are different trees. The dimension of these trees also. The height is 2 kilojodhnas. Okay, and this 2 kilojodhnas also. So so 1 yodhna is 8 miles, and then we have kilojodhna means 1000. So 2000 kilojodhnas. Such is the magnificent height of these trees, these mountains. If we consider the all the varshas, then we get this particular view, and we also see that how this Keshachal mountain, which were circling Ilävrta-varsa, so these are height which are almost same as Sumeru mountain. Okay, so now there are 9 townships on the summit of Mount Meru. These are the abodes of Kuvera. So here, so this image is actually magnified here, and so there are 9 townships on the summit of Mount Meru: Kuvera, Shiva, Indra, Agni, Yama, Virti, Varuna, and Vayu. Okay, so these personalities, they reside here. In fact, Brahma is in the center, and these dimensions are also given into 10 kilojodhnas of Lord Brahma's abode, which is located at Mount Sumeru. Now, Brahma is actually residing at Loka. But as we say that whenever we want some refreshment, we go to some resort and we enjoy, we relax, right? So similarly, Brahma also, if he wants to visit, or if he has some important meeting, or if he wants to get refreshed, then he will come down from Loka and he will come to this abode. He will at the top of Mount Sumeru. So this is the close view, and so now this is how the abode looks like. Okay. So now the 17th chapter says about the descent and flow of river Ganges. So we know that how when he was testing Bali Maharaj, he lifted off his left leg and then he expanded himself, and that left leg was actually going above and above and above, and ultimately it pierced the covering of the universe. And we know that beyond the covering of the universe there is a causal ocean where Mahavishnu is residing, right? So after piercing the 7 layers, immediately, because the causal ocean was connected with the feet of Lord Bhavanadev, it became sanctified and purified. And because of the piercing, immediately there was a leakage. I mean, in material terms, there was a leakage, and the causal ocean started flowing down. And that causal ocean ultimately was known as Ganga, or Bhagavad-padi, Vishnu-padi. Why? Because it was touching the feet, it contacted the feet of Lord Vamadev. So now how is the flow of Ganga from the to this world? This is described here. So the causal ocean, from the causal ocean, it will enter Satyaloka, and then from Satyaloka, it will enter Dhruvaloka. So here we have Dhruvaloka, here we have Satyaloka. And from there, it will descend to the top of Mount Meru, and then it will be divided into 4 branches: east, west, north, south. Yeah. So before aboard at Mount Sumeru, it is also the demigods. They carry this water, the sanctified pure water of Ganges, uh, in their airplanes, and then they deliver it to the moon, which is Chandraloka. So this is the top view, how the Ganges is actually descending from Causal Ocean, coming down to Satyaloka, Dhruvaloka, and then moon, and then ultimately reaching uh, at the top of Mount Sumeru. And then how it is divided into 4 parts. So we have on the north side Sita, side Chakshu, and then Alakananda. And then there are also small streams which are passing down Mount Sumeru. Yeah, so this is how this is the view of Jambudvipa and top view of Jambudvipa. So now of so the Ganges will enter the top of Mount Sumeru, and then it will pass from the peak of Neela, and then Shweta, then Shingavan, then Puruvarsha, then Salt Ocean, and will order Salt Ocean in the north side. So this Jambudvipa is surrounded by Salt Ocean, as we can see here. And so all these 4 streams will enter in the Salt Ocean. So similarly, here also in this direction, it will touch the respective mountains and then ultimately enter the Salt Ocean. So this is a asymmetric view, a very clear understanding of how Ganges is descending, right? So here we can see that from here it is going down, it is touching this mountain, and then it is coming like this. And in this side we'll see that it's touching this mountain, and then it bounces. Because the height of Sumeru mountain is so great compared to the height of these other mountains, so it is possible for Ganges to jump and it to bounce also, and finally it enters the salt water ocean. So here, this side, this south side, and we have our Earth globe is situated here. That's why here in the Earth globe we know the Ganga as Alaknanda. Okay. Then on the other side it is known as Sita, Bhadra, Chakshu. Here we see that how Alaknanda is coming. Okay, so now 8 smaller islands which are around Jambudvipa. Okay, so in the opinion of some learned scholars, 8 smaller islands surround Jambudvipa, created by the sons of Mahārāja by digging the Jambudvipa while searching for their lost horse. So the names of these are Swarnaprastha, Chandra Shukla, Manta, Harina, Ramanaka, Panchajanya, Simala, and Lanka. So here we see the saltwater ocean. These are now the most prominent ones are the 8 ones. So they are surrounding Jambudvipa. Okay, description of the 8 heavenly Varshas. So this is the 17th chapter, 11 to 15th verse. So Bharata-varsa is the field of karma, and other 8 Varshas, they are heavenly places on earth, are also called as Bhoma Swarga. So Bhoma Swarga Padani. Characteristics of the people like they live for 10,000 years, bodily strength of 10,000 elephants, wives they will conceive once in their last year, and happiness is that like of Treta Yuga, because Treta Yuga is also of 10,000 years. Like generally people live in Treta Yuga for 10,000 years. So description of the 8 heavenly Varshas. So gardens, there are gardens filled with seasonal flowers and fruits, beautifully decorated hermitages, enormous lakes with flowers and birds. Demigod leaders and their wives enjoy in gardens. Heavenly residents enjoy superior happiness, but never forget their position as eternal servant of Supreme Lord. Okay, so now who are the residents who are living in these 8 Varshas? These are the demigods who have exhausted their karma in Swargaloka. So whatever remaining karma is there for them to enjoy, they will enjoy in this 8 Varshas. That's why they live only for 10,000 years here. Okay, now there are Varshas, each and every Varsha they have deities and residents. So in Varsha, we have the inhabitants who are actually worshipping Lord Varadev. And then Hiranmaya Varsha, we have Aryama, followed by his citizens, worshipping Lord Kurma. And then Ramika Varsha, Manu is actually worshipping Lord Matsya. And then in Ketumal Varsha, we had Lakshmi, who is worshipping Lord Rishikesh. Okay. Then in Ilävrta-varsa, we have Shiva, who is worshipping Sankarshan. And then we have Bhadrashva-varsha. Bhadrashva is worshipping Lord Hayashirsha. And then Hari-varsha, Mahārāja is worshipping Lord Narasimha. Kimpurusha-varsha, Lord Ramchandra, Hanuman, and inhabitants, they are worshipping Lord Ramchandra in Kimpurusha-varsha. And in our Bharata-varsha, we have Narada, who is worshipping Narnayan Rishi. So all these incarnations of the Lord, they are also present in Jambudvipa. Okay. Okay, now if you observe closely this particular encircled mountains, Mount Kailash and Mount Kailash. So this is actually where Lord Shiva is residing, Mount Kailash in Ilävrta-varsha. And obviously he has also Mount Kailash in the Himalayas and outside of the material realm. And we also see here Mandra mountain, which was actually created by the Dvipas for the churning of ocean. So divisions of Bharat-varsha. Now we know that there are 9 varshas in Jambudvipa. One of the varsha is Bharat-varsha. And now Bharat-varsha is further subdivided into 9 islands or Dvipas. Why it is called Dvipa? Dvipa is a land, a portion of land which is surrounded by, on both sides it is surrounded. That's why it is called Dvipa. So in Bharat-varsha also is divided into 9 islands which are known as Dvip, Kisharu, Tamravarna, Siman, Saumya, Naludip, Gandharva, Varuna, and the 9 bordering the ocean, which is 1000 yodnas from north to south, known as Bharat-varsha. So we will also see what is the name of this 9th division. This is described in Vishnu Purana. Okay, so this is the flow chart of the descendants of Agnitra, Nabi, Rishabdev, and Bharat Maharaj. So we will see here how the 9 sons of Agnitra varshas of Jambudvipa. So we'll see Nabi, which is also called as Bharat-varsha, Kimpurusha, Hari-varsha, Ilävrta, Ramyaka, Hiranyamai, Kuru, Bhadrashva, and Ketumal. And then here also we will see that the 100 sons by Lord Rishabdev. The 9 sons, Kusavrata, Ilävrta, Brahmavrata, Malaya, Ketu, Bhadrasan, Indrasvat, Vidarbha, and Kikat. 9 islands of Bharat-varsha. Okay, so now this is a closer view of our Bharat-varsha. And especially, as I said, that this portion is Bharat-varsha. It is further divided into 9 parts. Okay, and so here we see that these are Dvipas. This is the Himalayan mountain. Okay, and here is our Earth globe. The small spherical object we can see here. So this is the Earth globe. This is the Himalayan mountain, and these are total 9 Dvipas. So here we see in Jambudvipa at the edge of Bharat-varsha or Khanda or Earth. Okay, so in the Vishnu Puran it is described that on the east side Kiratas are living, west side Yavanas are staying, east the Kamararupa, Orissa, Kalinga, Magad, and south Marukas and Malavas. And thus Satya in Bharat Khanda only. So only in the 9th division, which is 1000 yodnas, which is our Earth globe, there is karma and there is the appearance of Satyuga, Treta-yuga, Dwapar, and Kali-yuga. It does not exist anywhere else. The 9 divisions of Bharat border the ocean, and one cannot go from one Dvipa to another Dvipa. Now, according to Siddhanta Shiromani, which is a book which is written by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, he has named the 9th Dvipa or island, which is Kumarika. So he has named the 9 islands as Ainita, Tiru, Tamraparna, Kapasimat, Gandharva, Naga, Somya, Varuna, and Kumarika. So in the Markandeya Purana also it is mentioned karma is not enjoyed anywhere else. The ninth island is surrounded by water, measures 1,000 yojanas from south to north. And people who are residing mixture of both Marichas and Aryas. They predominate in certain parts. This is called Karma Bhumi. Bestows everything according to Pap and Punya. And then in the 5th canto, 19th chapter, 19th verse, Vishwanath Thakur explains that the karma is only in Bharat-varsa, Bharat Khanda, especially the earth globe, and only in the area whose dimension is 1,000 yuta, which means Bharat Khanda. Goals manifest according to the qualities of action caused by dharma takes place unavoidably as per the Vedas. If one cannot accomplish liberation, liberation appears on its own. Merging in Brahman is also achieved in this place. Thus glorify Bharat-varsa because it is suitable for service to Lord. And then, the problem in the heavenly planets is that there is no remembrance of the Lord and there is excessive enjoyment also. Okay, so based on the slokas of the Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva and Jambukanda, Vinirmana Parva, Sri Tiruvenkata Ramanuja Jiyar, who was a descendant of Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, he has wonderfully explained the structure of our Bharatkhanda. Sudarshanam Pravakshami Dvipam Te Kurunananda Parimandalo Mahārāja Dvipashav Chakra Samsita. This Bharatkhanda is called Sudarshan Dvipa because it looks beautiful to the eyes of onlookers. Being circular, Parimandalo, it looks like a disc of the Lord. It is attached to the cyclic time in form of disc presided by God Sudarshan. So half of this Bharat-varsa appears like the rabbit. Now this is very interesting. Half of this Bharat-varsa appears like rabbit and a small people leaf. Half appears in the form of big leaf. They are surrounded by all varieties of vegetation. Beside these portions, the rest is all water. So what is he describing here? Let's see. So he's describing, so you can see here, this is a rabbit and this is a people tree. The leaves of the people. Right now, this is actually how he had described, or the Mahabharata is describing the universe. Okay, so initially he was bewildered. What are we trying to conclude from this, the rabbit and the leaf? And then what he did, he reversed or took a mirror image of that, and then he reversed the image. Ultimately, he got this form. So now you see how these two things, they are so closely resembling our earthly structure. See, projections came up about description. So you will see here the rabbit, inverted rabbit, and the inverted people leaf. When it is projected, it looks like this. So such an exact, accurate, description in the Shastra of how the earth is. So this is the globe, which is at the tip of Bharat-varsa, and it's also the 9th division of Bharat-varsa. Okay, now according to the scientists, the diameter of the Earth, mean diameter is 2,742 kilometers. Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th part of Bharat-varsa, we already discussed that it is 1,000 yojanas. So the 9th part of 9,000 yojanas, which is 8,000 miles. 1 yojana is 8 miles, and that if you convert into kilometer, it will be 12,872 kilometers, which is almost close to the mean diameter or the diameter of the equator. Of the people of the 6 Dvipas. So now we are moving from the Varshas to the Dvipas. Okay, the 7 Dvipas, surrounded by the 7 oceans. Now, first, we already discussed in detail about Jambudvipa. Now we'll be discussing about the other 6 Dvipas. So first 5 Dvipas are 7 Varshas, and last Dvipa, there are only 2 Varshas. And they are named after their son. So 7 mountains and 7 rivers are present, and 1 mountain and 2 rivers in the last Dvipa. Beautifully decorated hermitages, enormous lakes with flowers and birds touching or bathing immediately purified. 4 kinds of people reside here. So worship the Lord in different forms. sun, moon, Agni, etc. live for 1,000 and more years, forms as beautiful as the Devatas. They produce offspring as the Devatas do. Longevity, sensory prowess, physical, mental strength, intelligence, and bravery. All these are the characteristics. Naturally and equally manifest in all of the living entities. But again, they never forget their eternal position as servants of the Lord. So the description of the other 6 islands, we have already discussed about Jambudvipa. So the second one is the Dvipa, which includes the Plaksha tree, which is shown in the right side. Now this is shining like gold, and it is as tall as Jambu tree. The height is 100 into 1,100 yojanas. At its root is a fire with 7 flames. There are 7 Varshas, 7 mountains, and 7 rivers here. 4 castes of people live here, and they live for 1,000 years by performing Vedic rituals that in sun surrounded by ocean of sugarcane juice. Then we have the Salmali Dvipa, the third Dvipa, as broad and tall as Plaksha tree. Here we have the Salmali tree also. And height is the same, 100 into 1,100 yojanas. Residents of Garuda, 7 Varshas, 7 mountains, 7 rivers, 4 castes of people live for more than 1,000 years. Following Varnashram, they worship moon surrounded by ocean of liquor. So we will see the image of this soon. Kusadvipa. So this is also consisting of Kusa grass. So created by the demigods, by Lord's will, a second form of fire. It produces mild and pleasing flames, illuminates all directions. Glow of tender shoots. Then there are 7 Varshas, 7 mountains, 7 rivers, 4 castes of people, expert in Vedic sacrifices, and worship Lord as Agni, surrounded by ocean of liquid ghee. Kronchadipa, we have the Kronch mountain here. Fearless from the weapons of Kartiki, surrounded by milk ocean protected by Varuna. Again, 7 mountain Varsha and rivers, 4 castes of people, worship the Lord by offering a palm full of water at Varuna's lotus feet, surrounded by ocean of milk. We have the Sakadvipa, which has the Saka tree, which is very fragrant, lends its scent to the entire island. The 7 Varshas, mountains and rivers, 4 castes of people practice mystic yoga and worship the Lord in trance by meditating on Vayu, surrounded by an ocean of yogurt. And the last is Pushkar Dvipa. So if you, I think you must be familiar, when we go to Ajmer, there is a place called Pushkar, and that's the only place where Brahma is worshipped as a deity form, right? So it is similar. Here also we have the Pushkar Dvipa, and it is in the form of lotus flower, 100 million pure golden petals, as effulgent as the flame of fire, the sitting place of Lord Brahma. So now Brahma is also sitting at Pushkar Dvipa. Okay, not just Mount Meru, but he also resides. He also sits at Pushkar Dvipa. There are only 2 Varshas here, and there is only 1 mountain, which is the Mansatar mountain. And then 4 castes of people worship the Lord as Brahma, ritualistic ceremonies surrounded by ocean of king water. Mansatar mountain. So now this is the description about the Mansatar mountain situated in Pushkar Dvipa. So situated in Dvip, breadth and height is 10,000 yojanas, and it is 15.75 million yojanas from the center of Mount Meru. On 4 direction of its are residential quarters of Indra, Yama, Varuna, and Soma. Sun god travels in his chariot above this, encircling Sumeru. Okay, so we'll see now. So this is the Pushkar Dvipa, which is the 7th Dvipa, surrounded by the sweet drinking water ocean. And then we have 1,000 petal lotus Lord Brahma seat here, and we have 2 Varshas, which is divided by Mansatar mountain, and the 2 rivers also flowing. And so similarly, we have the different Dvipas, different oceans. Kusadvipa, Kronchadipa, and they have 7 Varshas, 7 mountains, 7 rivers, like that. So here the dimension of each of these Dvipas, and the salt and ocean is mentioned, and who is the ruler of these Dvipas, and the same presiding deities of these Dvipas, and the special significance of which is the tree. Okay. Of remaining Bhu-mandala, golden land. So beyond the ocean of sweet water, with of radius of Manchatra 15.75 million Yojanas. It is a land of gold with mirror-like surface. Any object dropped there cannot be seen again. Therefore, people have abandoned this place. This is a description of the remaining Bhu-mandala, which is the Loka mountain. Divides the countries that are full of sunlight from those not lit by the sun. Radius is 1/4 of universe diameter. Created by the Lord in all 8 directions. Extends up to the end of 3 worlds in height. Rays of sun, other planets and stars. So they cannot spread beyond it. So on its top, there are 4 Gajapatis in 4 directions. Rishabh, Pushkara, Chuda, Vamana and Aparajita. Established by Lord Brahma to support all planets of the universe. Supreme Lord also resides there. Beyond Loka Varsha is Aloka Varsha. Loka mountain is Aloka Varsha. A tract of land outside Loka mountain, known as Aloka Varsha, fully dark, not inhabitable. The breadth radius of far edge of Loka mountain, 1/4 of universe diameter. Outer radius 246.6 million Yojanas. Total diameter of Bhu-mandala 493.2 million Yojanas. So another free space beyond Aloka Varsha. So Bhu-mandala diameter is 493.2. Free space is of 3.4 million Yojanas all around the shell. Because of this free space, Lord Shesha holds up the Bhu-mandala. Directional elephant steady the Bhu-mandala. Lord Vara lifted up the earth, which has sunk in during Swayambhu and Chakshusha Manvantar periods. Okay, so now let's understand. So what we are seeing here is the mountain. The golden land which we see here is golden ring is the golden land. And then this 70% ocean and beyond Loka mountain is the Aloka Varsha. So Loka mountain is a mountain which is dividing the Bhu-mandala into 2 parts. So inside of Loka mountain, the living entities are living, they are inhabiting. That's why it is called Alok. Lok means those who are residing. Alok means those who are not residing. Okay. So beyond this Loka mountain, you will see where no one is residing. It's completely dark. And beyond Alok Varsha, some gap between the universal covering, which is called as the free space. So because of the free space, Anantesh is along with the 4 Gajapatis located at the top of Loka mountain, and it's also that the Lord Vara is appearing. He's also able to lift the entire Bhu-mandala because of the free space. So now, if there is no free space, then the entire thing will get stuck. Universal coverings. So on the top of Loka mountain, we have the 4 Gajapatis. Now, universal coverings. So there are 7 layers of universal coverings, which is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, false ego, and Mahatattva. Each is 10 than the previous one. So these are dimensions. Golden land is 15.75 billion Yojanas. Loka mountain 82.2, Aloka Varsha 123, like that. So this is the Garbhola question. We have, okay, so let's go ahead. These are all the dimensions. Okay, so here we can see there are the 7 oceans and 7 islands, and then there is a sweet, and then beyond that is the golden land. Okay, and then the Loka mountain here surrounding. Beyond Loka mountain is the Aloka Varsha. You see here the region. Okay, I think we'll be able to get a better understanding when we see the view of this particular. I will explain next upcoming slides. Okay, so this is the description of the worlds, which is basically the lower planetary system. So within the hollows of the earth down below, it's rocky nature, and it is also the location of Ashta. And then there are further 8 elephants which are residing below Bhu-mandala. So all this we'll see in the images also. It is here that Yam Dharma city is situated, surrounded by a big moat, many Yojanas wide and deep. There are thousands of hells, such as Raurava, for punishing sinners of different kinds, beneath the earth but above Ganodaka. Hard earths find support on Adishesha's head. Okay, so this is the Bhu-mandala, or you can say the this is actually Bhu-mandala consisting of 7 islands and 7 oceans. Now, one thing we have to note, a very interesting thing, that this Bhu-mandala is not in the shape of a flat disc like a coin. It is actually tapered, okay, and it has thickness also. It's a terrace type of a structure, which we'll see in the next upcoming slide. But here, in Bhu-mandala, inside of Bhu-mandala, 7 planetary systems are, lower planetary systems are located. So we have Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Taratala, Mahātala, Rasatala, and Patala. And then we have some extra earth here. And so there are 28 hellish planets also residing at the edge of Bhu-mandala, at the bottom edge of Bhu-mandala, along with the Dhruvaloka. Okay. So now what are the dimensions? So we know that Mount Sumer is ending 16,000 Yojanas below Bhu-mandala, and then the thickness, the width of all these 7 planetary systems, it is 10,000 respectively, but they are also separated by a distance of 500 Yojanas in between. Okay, and then there is a 11,000 Yojanas extra earth here is there, and here there are the 8 elements surrounding. Yeah, so height of 7 lower planets is 70,000 because each is 10,000, so there are 70,000. The base of Mount Meru is 16,000, and the gaps are 100 Yojanas each, and then there are 6 gaps, so it will be 3,000, and the extra earth 11,000. So total thickness mandala or total mandala is 1 lakh Yojanas. Okay, so now we are getting a basic image of the entire thing. So these are the 7 layers. You see that this is the of the universal shell. This is a shell, this is a universal shell, and then you have the entire Bhu-mandala here. And along with that, you also have the Loka mountains and then Bhärata-varsa, and then here we can see how the incarnation of Lord as Kurma is supporting Anantashesha, who is also the Satyavesh of the Lord Sankarshan, and then on the top of that there are the 8 who are balancing the universe like this. So there's a Kurma, the Anantashesha, and then we have the earth, the Bhu-mandala. So earth below Patal is all rocky nature, and it is location of Ashta. Below this Lord Adisesh supports the earth from sinking to Ganodak. The hells which are in line with the directional life ends are naturally above Ganodak and below the surface of visible earth. As per Bhagavatam, the hells are located beneath the earth but above Ganodak, since the hard earth extends downward up to where it finds support on Adisesh. So is there, this is how we can actually understand that Bhu-mandala is not flat like a single coin, but this type of arrangement. Because the Pushkar is actually 2 lakh Yojanas lower than the upper edge of the basket like Jambudvipa, and the surface of Ganodak beyond the region of darkness is in line with Pushkar Dipa. The location of hell is slightly above this line. So this is actually the real mandala. So here we can see this is like Jambudvipa, and then this is the saltwater ocean surrounding Jambudvipa. Then there's a Pakshadipa, and then again there's the ocean surrounding like that. It goes below. It's kind of inverted structure. So this is actually the real structure of the mandala. We understand that. So here we see the Loka mountain. So these mountains, these mountains extend up to Loka, whole star. And here we see the last Dvipa, the Dvipa, is 2 million Yojanas from Mount Sumeru. So this is a representation of in one of the countries they have represented the entire Bhu-mandala like this. Okay. So now Jambudvipa is like in shape, circular. It has an altitude of 1 lakh Yojanas that we have already discussed. Now, what is the distance of sun and moon from Jambudvipa or Bharat-varsa or Bharat-khanda. It is 93 million miles away from our globe, and moon is 5 million miles away from our globe. They are almost in line with the equator. Rahu is 10,000 yonas below sun and inside moon. So here we can see this is the sun who is in a chariot. So sun is driving in a chariot, and as we have already discussed earlier, this is the Mansatar mountain located on Dvipa. So 1 lakh yonas above that is directly the sun. And the sun is revolving. So here is our Earth globe, the of Bharat-varsa, the 9th division, and we can see that how the sun is revolving around the Earth. So it is always revolving above Mansatar mountain. Description of Bharat-varsa. So Bharat-khanda is actually perked at the southern edge, which means that it is stuck up or it is jut out. So it is not a planet going around the sun. So this is a contradiction between modern science and our Vedic cosmology, that the way it is depicted is that the Earth is actually fixed and everything is moving around the Earth. And in modern science, we see that the sun is actually fixed and the Earth is, and all other planets are revolving around the sun. But this can be reconciled by saying that we have the conception of relativity. So if you consider relativity, then it does not matter which one is fixed and which one is moving. So this is also substantiated by Sri Anantaramu of Bangalore, a scientist who joined the crew of the first Indian Antarctic expedition. So he says that South Pole region projects downwards like a cone. Very interesting. This region has not been properly surveyed, but it is indeed a flat lie to say that the South Pole region is slightly flat like North Pole region. You see, this is the 9th division of Jambudvipa, which is called as Bharat-khanda. It is also called as Navdvipa. It is also called as Dvipa sometimes. So here we can see how it is hooked to the saltwater ocean, the bottom, south pole of that. So see, that's why we see that there are no flights, there are no flight routes in these routes, especially on the southern side. Everything is going from the north side. So this is something which is very interesting. Okay, now we'll also discuss about the 14th system, the vertical structure of the universe, described in the 5th CANTO, chapter 21 to 26. 21 to 22 describes sun, moon, stars, and other planets. 23 describes about Shishumara, Dhruvaloka, and upper planets. 24 to 25 description of lower planets. And 26 description of the hellish planets. Okay, the sun god, described in the 20th and 21st chapter. Situated vertically middle of the universe, 250 million yonas on either side up and down. Situated in the middle of Antariksha or Bhuvarloka, and 0.1 million yonas above Bhû-mandala. The sun, master of heat, heats up and lights up the 3 worlds by its light. It has only one wheel, one side fixed on the lower portion of Meru, other side rests upon Mansatar mountain. Length of the axle is 15.75 million yonas. The wheel continuously rotates on Mansatara like the wheel of an oil pressing machine. So this is the sun god's chariot wheel. Here, the sun god is located at certain distance from the chariot wheel. So sun god here. And so there are 2 axles of the revolution of sun. One is Mount Meru, it's a horizontal connection, and then there is a inclined connection to Dhruvaloka. So there is another axle which is 3.94 million yonas, and this axle is 1.75 million yonas, which is also the length or the radius of Mansatar mountain. Right? So there are 2 axles. This is how sun is actually revolving around Dhruvaloka and Mount Meru. So like, in this example, we see that if you compare the cow as a sun, then there are 2 axles attached to it. So how the cow is actually revolving around this, by 2 axles, that is how the sun is connected to Mount Meru and Dhruvaloka. Okay, so there is a description of the sun god chariot. According to Sridhar Swami, chariot would set 50,000 yonas height on a surface made flat by wind. Sun is situated in enclosure 40,000 yonas above the wheel. Enclosure is, the length of the enclosure is 3.6 into 0.9 million yonas. So this is the enclosure, and then it is situated. So the above the wheel it is 40,000 yojanas, and from the top of Mount Satya mountain it is situated at the distance of 50,000 yojanas, and the height of Mount Satya mountain is 10,000 yojanas. So distribution of the sun god chariot, horses named after Gayatri and other Vedic meters, harnessed to a yoke 0.9 million yojanas wide. Aruna looks backward, who is the chariot of the sun god. He looks backward towards the sun god whenever he is revolving. And then there is 60 stages, 11 meters. And the Gangadhas, Apsaras, Nagas, Yaksha, Raksha, Rakshasas, they are also praying and offering obeisances to sun god. Okay, now there is very interesting thing which is mentioned by our Hanumanji in Hanuman Chalisa by Tulsidas. It actually describes the distance between sun and earth. Tumaro mantra vibhishana mana lankeshwara bhaisava janagana jugha sahastra yojana par bhanu leelata hi madur phala janu. So here it is mentioned jugha sahastra yojana. Sahastra means 1,000 and jugha means 12,000. So 12,000 into 1,000 yojanas is 12 million yojanas. Now 12 million yojanas is equal to 12 into 8 is equal to 96 million miles, which is 96 into 1.6. If you convert into kilometer, you will get 153.6 million kilometers. Now if you go to Google and if you search the distance between Earth and Sun, you will always you will actually get to this figure, almost close to this figure, 150 million kilometers. So this is already described in our Da's Hanuman Chalisa. This is a sun god and the chariot, the horses. So it's situated 0.1 million yojanas above the rays of the sun. This is the moon. So here is the moon. Now see the distance between sun and Bhu-mandala or earth globe is 7 million yojanas. But horizontal distance between the earth and the moon is very less. Right? But vertically the moon is at a higher elevation than the sun. Okay, so now this is amazing. What is the relation between Earth, Sun, and Moon? And what is the significance of the number 108? You'll come to understand from this table. So Earth diameter is 1,000 yojanas, as we have discussed. Sun diameter is 108 times the diameter of Earth. Sun to Earth distance is 108 times. The Earth diameter is moon diameter is 108 divided by 400 times. Okay, and moon to Earth distance also 108 times. Right? So this is how the 108 number is so significant, so important for us. Mathematically also it is so important. Okay, so the moon with its waxing and waning phases creates days and night for the Pitras and the Devtas. So during waxing phase, Shukla Paksh, it is day for the Devtas and night for the Pitras, suitable for worship of Devtas. And during waning phase, Krishna Paksh, it is day for Pitras and night for Devtas, suitable for worship of Pitras. Pitra Paksh, Bhadra Paksh. Okay, so now moon is a heavenly planet, and Pitras and Devtas are residing on moon. So here you can see also another interesting thing to observe. The Earth is actually made up of element. Okay, and water element. Sun is made up of fire elements, earth, water, fire. So we'll see that earth, moon, and sun, these are so important to us. So now you see that how when the moon, so see we have here the side and the side. Okay, so when there is a new moon day, the moon is in between earth and sun. Then half of and half of Devtas. And then the Pitrus are located on the south side of the earth. You will see only the Pitrus because this half portion is lighted by the sun rays. So similarly, we get Krishna Paksh and Shukla Paksh here. So now the constellations or nakshatras. So the 22nd chapter, 11 to 12 verses of 5th canto. 28 number, and then moving clockwise around Mount Meru. On the wheel of time, the clockwise. And this is 0.3 million yojanas above moon. Abhijit, middle of Ashada and Shravana. Okay, so now the nakshatras, the stars that never fade. And the stars associated with moon. Nakshatranam Aham Sashi, the Bhagavad Gita is mentioned. Vriksha, group of stars, Ashwini, Bharani, they are bigger in size like Buddha. Then Taraka, these are all constellations, okay. These other small stars, those who do good deeds across this world and attain these places. Tara also means they are white and bright. Size is 0.5 to 100 yojanas. And the Graha are the planets like Sun, Moon, etc. Here we see the moon is here, and then we have the constellations. Rishis and Dhruvaloka, they always think of well-being of all and circumambulates Lord's abode. Dhruvaloka, the push the abode of Lord Vishnu, Dhruv still resides as the life source of all Saptarishis, demigods, and different stars circumambulate him clockwise. So Dhruvaloka is eternal, and the zodiac of planets, constellations, stars revolve around it, and the Dhruvaloka remains till the end of Brahma's life. So here we can actually see the dimension distance of Dhruvaloka from the sun. The sun is the reference because sun is exactly in the center of the entire globe. So that's why sun is at a 0 level, and then we have all these other planets and constellations at different heights from the sun. So here we can see how moon is located 1 lakh yojanas above the sun, and the nakshatra is located 3 lakh yojanas above the moon. And we have the Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So respective distances from Sun. And it goes up to Dhruvaloka. So Dhruvaloka is here. The Saptarishis are here, just below Dhruvaloka. And these all planets, like a chandelier, surrounding and they are circumambulating Dhruvaloka. Because Dhruvaloka is also the abode of Kshirodaksha Vishnu, Lord Vishnu's abode. So that's why it is very special. So here we can see the Bhu-mandala as well as the upper planetary system, or you can say the Loka. Okay, now the Shishumara planetary system, it's a great machine, stars and planets, is a Shishumara dolphin. Okay, and it's the incarnation of Krishna Vasudeva. Yogis contemplate imaginary Shishumara, meditate upon it as Virat Root. So it is also another Virat Root of the Supreme Lord. And it is actually visible also. Describe this as zodiac. Okay, now. Okay, so see a yogi who is meditating, he can actually see the dolphin. See, this is the Loka, and right here is actually the nakshatras. Loka to the nakshatras. This dolphin can be seen. So the yogi who is actually trying to meditate on the dolphin or the Virat form of the Lord. So now we see one of the laboratories for one is from US or some other country, but we really see this dolphin. It's quite visible. Okay, we just have to locate it properly. So here we'll see how this dolphin sign is there, and the sun is located at the middle. So the Shishura planetary system, its head is downward, its body is coiled, and its body is balanced. 3 stars on either side. Lord Vishnu's external form. Resting is all demigod stars and planets. So this is the Bhu-mandala, and then we have the Loka here. So in according to Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described how entire Bhu-mandala with all the planets, they are all revolving around Dhruvaloka like a chandelier. Okay, and they are all connected to Dhruvaloka, all these planets and constellations, everyone. And so here we can see the tail of the dolphin is Dhruvaloka. Here at the bottom we see that it's the residence of the nakshatras. Okay. See, when you try to see this from India, how it will be viewed. So if you tilt the image or if you change the direction, the dolphin will start moving. Okay, and it will be seen like this from India, because it also depends which place you are located in which part of the world. Okay, so if you are located in south side, north side, east side, west side, accordingly, the dolphin's position will change. So from India, you will see in upward to downward side like that. So the limb of the Shishupachakra, on the end of its tail, which is about Loka. On the body of its tail, Jambudvipa in the Dharma, at the base of its tail, the planets of Bhärata and Bhärata. This one Shishupachakra 7 saintly sages. One is genital Saturn. On the back of its next Jupiter, on its Mars. Within its life air, Mercury, on its table Venus. And then the right side and left side 14 stars on either side. In the back of Shishupachakra, we have this Aja with 3 stars. Common we have the Ganga. Within the mind we have Moon. The first sun of the heart is Narayan. On its breast, the Ashwini Kumaras. On its neck, the Pachin Agasti, lower chin Yamraj. All over its body comments are there. And in 4, the numerous stars are there. So this is the description of Shishupachakra planetary system. Right from Dhruvaloka to the Yamraj. And then there are the 4 stars here on the side, and then 4 stars on the side. 14 stars. Okay, so now we'll discuss about the upper planetary system. It's beyond, which is above Dhruvaloka. So there is Mahārāja above Dhruvaloka, then there is the Janaloka above Mahārāja, then Loka above Janaloka, and then ultimately Satyaloka. So Satyaloka is the abode of Lord side with associates, abode of great sages and rishis, 4 Kumaras. Janaloka is the abode of great sages and rishis, and Mahārāja, abode of great sages and rishis, siddhas and rishis in large numbers. So this is now see, the more you go vertically, the more the Bhu-mandala and the Swargaloka will be compressed, right? So here we can see Bhu-mandala is here, and we will also see how the Swargaloka from Moon to Loka is compressed, because also including the dimension of Mahārāja, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. So these are all above pole stars, and these are the Saptarishis, which is below the pole star. So now this is a universal form of Lord. How see now the entire planetary system is the body of the Supreme Lord. Satyaloka, Loka, Mahārāja, Bhurloka, Bhurloka, Vitala, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal. Now above this there is a free space. Universal covering is 16.2 million Yonas above Satyaloka. So just free space in between Satyaloka and the universal covering. So in this free space, there is Mahavaikuntha. So now this is the local Vaikuntha. So just as we know that Vaikuntha is residing in the Vaikuntha realms, it is not in the material world. But so similarly, there is Vaikuntha inside the material world also, which is also eternal, and it exists as long as the day of Brahma is there. Okay, so there is the Mahavaikuntha. This was created by Lord Vaikuntha in order to please Lakshmi. Now this Vaikuntha is a son of Subra and Vikuntha. This is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 8.46. And also supported by Rupa Goswami in his Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Now this is very interesting. This Mahavaikuntha is a place where Bhrigumuni went and he kicked the chest of Lord Vishnu. This Mahavaikuntha is the same place where the 4 Kumaras they cursed Jaya and Vijay. Okay, and this Mahavaikuntha is the same place where Durvasa Muni, after offending Ambarish Maharaj, he started running here and there, and then he started he wanted to take shelter of Brahma, then Shiva, and then ultimately took shelter of Vishnu. So he actually went to this abode of Mahavaikuntha. So this Mahavaikuntha is within the universal layers or within the universe. It is not beyond this universe. Okay, it's a local Vaikuntha in the material world, just like Svetadip or Dhruvaloka. which is the abode of Shiva Vishnu. And now further, also describing the second Chatusloki Srimad Bhagavatam, which was by Vishnu to Brahma. So this Lord Brahma saw the same Mahavaikuntha. This is described in the second 9th chapter, 9 to 13, and then further also in the 9th and 10th canto. Okay, so now universal covering after 3 days. So 7 layers, earth, water, fire, and air, all Shiva Mahatma. And each is better than the previous one. Some say there are 8, and some say there are universal coverings. So this is the entire universe. Is the egg structure of the universe. We have the Vishnu here on the ocean, and then we have the navel of Vishnu coming the stem of the lotus flower, and then we have the Loka, Jambudvipa, Mahārāja, Loka, Dhruvaloka, Bhurloka, and then all these lower planetary system. Here, Lord Shiva is residing. Is also there. And so this is the dimension of these different universal coverings. So some say there are 10. Okay. Vertical structure of the universe, region of liberated soul, area of covering of the universe and the Vaikuntha planets. Vishnu Puran says Vaikuntha planets begin 10 million yojanas above the universal covering. So real Vaikuntha planet beyond the material world, they start after 10 million yojanas after the end of the universal covering. So here we can see this is one universe. Okay, this is just one universe described. There are millions of universes coming from Mahavishnu, who is lying in the ocean. Okay, and these are all floating ocean. And then we see how these are 7 layers. And then beyond that, we see and then the world starts. Okay, this is the Shiva, Kailash, in the spiritual world. And then we have Vaikuntha also. Ultimately, we have Lord Vrindavan Dwarka. Vrindavan in the center, and then ultimately Dwarka. And then here surrounding Vrindavan is the abode of Lord Chaitanya, which is called Shvetadvipa Navadvip. These are the dimensions of all these different and this is a complete holistic view of the entire vertical structure of cross section of Bhu-mandala. So here we see, now when you include everything, you see how Loka mountain had health. Now it is only this much when Satya universal covering, right? Because we have compressed. We have also included all the systems. And so here we see that Loka is here. Loka mountain is only Loka. And then we have the Mahārāja, Jambudvipa, Loka, and Satya. And Bhu-mandala is also given. Satya in heavenly planets. So what is Bhuvar-loka? Antariksha. Sky between earthly and heavenly sphere. Place of enjoyment for yakshas, rakshasas, ghosts. As far as wind blows and clouds fall in the sky. Air. Above this Bhuvar-loka Antariksha stars. Okay, so Rahu. Now Rahu is situated in Antariksha. Moves like one of the stars, 10,000 yodna below the sun, for the sun. So you know that how Rahu is trying to always attack sun and moon. And that's why we have eclipses. So Bhuvar-loka, Siddha, Charana, and Vidyadharas, they are all residing here in Bhuvar-loka. Naturally entered with mystic powers, travel easily without pains. 10,000 yodna below Rahu. And then there are yakshas and rakshasas, along with pisachas and ghosts enter here. They are 100 yodnas above the earth. So here we'll see. See now here we have the Mansutra mountain, the Bhu-mandala. Then here we have sun. So in between sun and this is the surface of Bhu-mandala. So that's why it said that in between sun god and the Mandala. So here we have Rahu, which is located at 10,000 yodnas below. Then 10,000 yodnas below we have the Charanas with us. And then further 17,900 we have the Yakshas and Rakshasas like that. Lower planetary system, the Daityas, Danavas, Nagas, wealth, power, bliss, sense enjoyment, greater than the higher planets, illusory enjoyment, fine houses and gardens, desires more unimpeded than in Swarga, no fear, no division of on snakeheads. So these are the seven lower planetary system, Atal, Vital, Sutal, all these. So elixirs and juices made of divine herbs do not experience anxiety, disease, inspiration, fatigue, old age, wrinkles, gray hair, discoloration, lack of pleasure, effects of aging, no fear of death. Sudarshan Chakra is there. So these are the just a depiction of the netherly realms. It looks very frightening. But these are the jivas who are in the mode of ignorance. They attain the seven lower planetary systems. Those who are in passion, they are in Bhu-mandala, and those who are in goodness, they attain Swarga. So now, so depending on one's consciousness, one will attain these different planets, and this is a place where we can enjoy. So someone who is in the lower planetary system, they will enjoy in the mode of ignorance. Someone who is in the mode of passion, they will enjoy in the Bhu-mandala. And someone in the mode of goodness, they will enjoy in Loka, which is from right from the sun, the moon planet to the Dhruvaloka. So some description about the Atala. So the demon is Bala. Mayadana created 96 kinds of mystic power. Created 3 kinds of movement by yawning. They induced men to drink hataka. An example, so this is not well. Bali Maharaj is residing here. The son of Maharaj Virochan worshipped the Lord Vamandev, right, with fearless heart, complete devotion, reside here with great opulences. Ruled by Maya, the king of Danavas, lord of 3 cities, Tripurasura, protected by Lord Shiva, without fear of Sudarshan, worshipped. Many hooded snakes, Kadru's descendants, Loka, Takshaka, Kalia, and Susana, controlled by anger, addicted to material enjoyment, bewildered, enjoy themselves, constantly live in fear of Garuda. Pani's descendants of Diti and Danu, Nivat Kachas, Kavachas, Kalayas, Hiranya Puravasis, enemies of Devatas, reside in holes like snake. From birth, extremely powerful and cruel, live out of fear of Sudarshan. Patal, Naga, Sanka, Kulika, Mahashanka, Shweta, hided by Vasuki, very envious. Many would shining jewels, darkness of the caves of Patal. So these are respective position from Mount Meru. We have already discussed this, we have seen this. Now the glories of Ananta is explained in the 25th chapter of 5th canto. Expansion is the expansion of Supreme Lord, holder of earth. He is also the source of Rudras, the 11 Rudras. And then is the expansion of Sankarshana, the Saktavish avatar, presiding deity of Ahankara. And worshipping Ananta Shesh will purify one from situated below the lower planets, on the entire Shiti Mandalam on one of his 1,000 hoods. Like it feels like white mustard seed, and it easily supports the earth for its continued existence and does not sink into Garbhodakshayi ocean. He is called unlimited because he does not know the universe which is situated somewhere on one of his hoods, because he is situated below Bhu-mandala, measuring so many yodnas. His hoods are not wide enough to hold it. However, persons situated there can see that by inconceivable energy, his hoods become unlimited in dimension, and thus Bhu-mandala appears like a mustard seed. That is actual, not illusion. This is an example of the astonishing unlimited nature that I just mentioned. Pitras, these are the Devatas who are 7 lower planets. Yamraj is a king of the Pitras, desire virtual blessings, avoids unavoidable punishment, make the Jivas terms the Supreme Lord situated 99,000 yodnas below Earth. Hellish planet intermediate space between 3 worlds and Garbhodaksha ocean, beneath the 7 planets, slightly above Garbhodaksha ocean, situated 99,000. So Hellish planets and Pitruloka, they are in the same location. So these are 21 or 28 planets. But here structure of being a Garbhodaksha ocean, Lord Vishnu's sweat fills the lower of the universe. Lord sleeps on Ananta's bed. Beneath the Garbhodaksha ocean, the lower end of the universe, 250 million yodnas below the sun planet. So Hellish planet remaining Earth, Shesha, Garbhodaka, and universe end. Right? Yeah, so here we can see the depiction right from Garbhodaka ocean to Satyaloka. And we have this 7 elements. And now this is the entire structure of the universe, vertical cross section of the universe. So now we are just about to end. Okay, so this amazing gross body of the Lord consisting of islands, versions, rivers, mountains, sky, and oceans, the Lord and the system, the direction, the hellish, planetary systems, and the luminaries is the shelter of all living entities. Result of hearing and speaking about the 5th canto, if one reads the description of Lord's external form with great faith, if one hears about it or explained to others, it develops faith, bhakti, pure intelligence. Understand the topic of the Supreme Lord, which is like Upanishad, difficult to understand. Hearing about the gross form leads the control mind by the intelligence to Lord's gross form. Hearing about the subtle form leads the control mind by the intelligence to the Lord's subtle form. And this is just a comparison chart of modern science and Srimad Bhagavatam. How accurately Bhagavatam is actually different aspects of the Earth and Sun. So the Earth rotation is 23 hours 56 minutes and then 4 seconds. And so similarly here also we are getting the same number. Earth rotation reflects 24 hours. Here also with the same number. So there may be a slight difference, but overall we get the same values, exact same values. Now here we can see Earth's complete revolution around Sun 56.26 days, but according to Bhagavatam it is 361.26 days. Like that. And so here also the perihelion, aphelion difference, eccentricity of Earth's orbit, there's a comparison. Okay, so with this we can end our class, and I'm very grateful and grateful to His Grace Pavaneshwar Prabhu. So I have completed all the images from his videos on YouTube, and so after the 5th canto cosmology and the entire 5th canto, we are getting close to the 6th canto. So we are trying to get the mercy of Srimati Radharani, because as I began the class, the last class I said that the 5th canto is very close to the 6th canto. 6th canto is the heart of Krishna, and the heart of Krishna is Srimati Radharani. So by properly understanding, appreciating, acknowledging the 5th canto, we'll be able to make spiritual advancement, and we'll also get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope it was a wonderful experience and journey for you all. Okay, so Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. You know, I personally don't know about anybody else, but I'll personally have to go through this session a couple of times to properly appreciate. You know, this is really, we are really grateful to you and really honored that you are coming on this platform and explaining this, the 2 cantos, which are one of the most difficult 2 cantos in Srimad Bhagavatam to understand. But like you're saying, it's the mercy of Guru and Krishna, mercy of Srimati Radharani are the only key to understanding these.
Yeah. Special to His Grace Pavaneshwar Prabhu and all the devotees at Bhakti Vedanta Vidyapit, and also to His Holiness Bhanu Maharaj. They have actually researched, they have done on this topic, and because of their mercy, we are actually able to present something to all the devotees so conveniently.
Yeah, and you are becoming a transparent via media for us, Prabhuji.
I hope so, Mataji. That is the only position that I have, to become the servant of all the devotees. So I'm very grateful to the entire team of Pavitra ecosystem in order to invite me and to give me this platform and opportunity to share the message of Srimad Bhagavatam with all the devotees. So very thankful for that, Mataji. Thank you so much.
We are also really grateful. In the month of Purushottam, you are, such an auspicious month, and you are explaining the Amalapuran to us, Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji.
And thank you all the viewers who have who are watching this. I hope, I don't know how much everyone understands, but this is the most auspicious month, and to hear this knowledge and to try and apply it into our lives and understand it is the greatest benediction of this month, which devotees like Prabhuji have been giving it to us. Thank you so much for joining us. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.